Hello and welcome to the Death Battle Cast, the show where half of our cast is sick today, so please be kind to them. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the voice of Wiz in Death Battle, joined, of course, by Chad, the voice of Boomstick.
Hi,
There
I'm
he
almost
is.
better.
He is apparently infected with every illness
Everything.
known
Yeah.
to man,
Every single one.
Insane.
according to his own doctor's words.
Which was a surprise to me.
Joining us is a producer of the show, Aaron. Hello, Aaron. Welcome back.
Hello.
Woo,
Wow.
swag.
Ooh.
Wow. Fancy. Yeah, hello. I'm also a little bit sick, but we're going to do our best.
We'll make it work. This is your first time on since Mike decided to throw in every transition under the sun, I think. So
Yeah, I think so. That was new. I like it though.
this is what we do now.
High play vibes.
And last but not least, we got writer or researcher of the show, as well as now editor of the show, which is really cool. And DJ. Hello, DJ.
Hi, I'm back. Ooh, I love that box transition. oh man, I'm in love with that. I'm glad I got you brought out the Windows transition just for me. But yeah, I'm back. Hi guys.
All right, and today we have a very special matchup because it's one we have seen requested quite a bit, but haven't been very certain how to go about it until recently, because one of these shows literally just ended like 2 days ago.
Yeah, Saturday, right?
Or 3 days ago, sure, whatever. So before we move any further, just want to point this out. You can read it below if you're watching the video version of this. There are going to be spoilers for the Owl House finale, because today we are talking about Anne from Amphibia versus Luz from Owl House. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in the Owl House finale that just aired that is going to be brought up. Normally, we would try to avoid spoilers for something like this, but Owl House is a special case, just because it's a shorter show that was basically like told to end early, right? Is that the story?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. So they had two full seasons. They had the season 1, season 2. Post season 2, Disney was basically just like, we're done with you and we don't want to give you any more money, but I guess that you can have 3 specials to wrap up your entire show and all the plot threads within that. So they did get to finish, but it was not on the kind of like production schedule and season budget that they were initially told they were going to have. So
Sort not exactly the same, but sort of a Legend of Korra situation where they're like, we can't put it on TV anymore, but like the website can air it.
Oh, I was gonna go with
whatever.
Firefly.
Firefly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Firefly just got straight up canceled.
Yeah,
They didn't even
they're
get
like, here,
second season.
Serenity. That's all you get. Finish it. And it's like, oh,
Didn't he fund Serenity himself? I can't remember. Maybe not. Either way, but those specials just aired and have a lot to talk about, so we will be diving into that.
She's gonna need it.
Yeah, normally it would be bad form or whatever for me to say, don't watch this. But if you haven't seen the Owl House finale and you plan to, don't watch this video.
Yeah, why are you watching a debate? Why are you watching a debate over?
Yeah,
You could just go watch it.
leave this YouTube video right now.
y'all are triggering me.
Watch the finale.
And then you can watch the recording of this cast when it goes live on Friday.
You heard us here. Never watch Death Battle again. No.
Yeah,
I mean,
get
I'll
out
say
of here.
that.
We don't need you. It's fine.
Oh
my
no. The show's over. We're done. No. No. Okay. So yeah, just a heads up how we're gonna go into this. So that's again, we are going to be arguing Anne from Amphibia versus Luz from Owl House, 2 shows that I'm not very familiar with myself, but thankfully we have DJ arguing for Anne here and Aaron arguing for Luz. I am saying that name right? Luz? It's not Luz.
Yeah.
Lose
Yeah.
and yeah.
Luz.
Like light.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Her name is Spanish for light.
I know things. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't really. Okay, now that
Yeah.
makes a million times more sense. I didn't realize it was Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tank dropping
okay,
5
that's just
memberships. It's okay. Tank saved you. Thank you, Tank.
Did you
Thank you,
think
Tank.
that I was
Appreciate it.
arguing for a girl literally named Luz, like loser?
Lose stands for
Yeah, that's
loser,
what I was
and that
wondering,
is
like,
why
I
she loses.
I guess I never
Yep.
really looked at the spelling of it, but it is L-U-Z. Okay. All right. So, if you're new here or haven't listened to our show before, the way this is going to work is Aaron and DJ are going to be arguing for their respective characters, and it's their job to convince the jury that their character would win any means necessary. And the jury consists of 3 seats: myself, Chad, and you all watching this live right now. There will be a poll up at the end of the show for you to vote between Anne and Luz. So, we can go ahead and begin. And part of what I would like to cover here is not just what these characters can do, but also a little bit about the world that they exist within, and what they mean to that world, and what that world, how that world might impact what we're going to talk about moving forward. So, because of the Owl House spoilers, just to give everybody a little bit more of a chance to run away if they need to,
Yep.
let's go ahead and start with Anne. DJ,
All right, cool.
60 seconds on the clock to talk about Anne and Amphibia.
All right, so 60 seconds on the clock. So Anne Boonchoi, she is a middle school girl that gets isekai'd into a land of frogs. So this is a sort of like a Western
What?
isekai. Both of these series are isekais. We'll get into that in a little bit. But as Anne gets into Frogland, she ends up meeting Sprig, Polly, Hop Pop, who is like her little frog family, and they try to go on adventures to try to at least break out of Amphibia and go back within the real world. But over that course, they go over on misadventures. Anne is a perfectly fine, skilled swordswoman. She knows Muay Thai. We'll get into this a little later, but the main thing that we're going to be discussing when we're talking about Anne is the Calamity Gems and what those Calamity Gems mean for her as she gets like these super big superpowers that lets her fight mech, go through space, destroy the moon. She has like an assortment of different gadgets, not as important like a flamethrower or just like an assortment of swords and weapons that we're going to sort of get into. So yeah,
All right.
Anne's my girl.
Sword lady, got it.
Yeah, sword
I
lady,
should-
sword frog lady with superpowers.
with frogs. I should have mentioned this earlier. If you're hesitant to leave because you want to make sure you watch the cast, we do release these as VODs later on, I believe on Friday. So if you plan to watch the finale to Owl House like today or tomorrow, you can dip out and then come back later.
Or if you're
that'll
one of
be
those
cool
people
with
that
us.
doesn't care about spoilers, hang out. That's
Yeah.
not me. I hate having anything spoiled, but I have a friend who just like, no, I don't care. Spoil everything for me. Like, it's fine. I'll still enjoy it. And I'm like, no.
See,
Anyway,
when you work on Death Battle, you just gotta have to accept that you're gonna have everything spoiled for you at some point.
oh, I hate when we do
Uh,
something that I'm interested in because then I'm just like, and then I got to go binge it before we record.
Well, all
Fair
right.
enough.
Let's get into spoiler territory. Aaron, tell us all about Luz.
Your last
All
warning,
right.
everyone.
Run now. Luz Noceda is a late middle schooler, early high school girl. Doesn't quite fit in with the real world, but then she gets isekai'd into the magical realm of demons and witches. She, I know. Within this new realm that she finds herself in, she ends up finding a mentor in Ida the Owl Lady, who takes her on as her apprentice to learn all about casting wild magic using various glyphs: fire glyphs, ice glyphs, plant glyphs, glyphs that purify people, glyphs that make you turn invisible, all sorts of. It's a very wide variety of magic that she ends up dipping her toe in. She ends up kind of in this found family situation with Ida, as well as her new adopted younger brother, King, who is the son of the Titans, which are an incredibly magical race that used to be on this realm that she now finds herself in. And it is through the Titans that she ends up getting her big finale, final, powerful Super Saiyan form, which will be fun to get into.
Okay. Well,
Super Saiyan
very
form.
early.
All right.
Very early on, Luz sounds like she's got a lot more going for her,
Right.
given we've got a world of witches and magic and Titan, and then a world of
Yeah, it's fine.
frogs.
Whatever. Like,
From those opening statements, we ended with one like her like gift from the gods Super Saiyan form, and then frog lady with swords and a flamethrower.
she has a Super
To-
Saiyan form too. I'm not getting into
Alright,
the
yeah.
Calamity Gem. I'm
To
trying
be
start with the
fair,
basic stuff.
No, it's fine, I
DJ
got
could have,
Yeah.
I'm going hard on the magic stuff, but it is a world of frogs and amphibia, but it is also a world of magic. They are magic frogs.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about these frogs then, I guess. What's going on with the world of Amphibia?
So the world of Amphibia, it's literally called like the continent of Amphibia. They have like just only frogs. They have just a bunch of frogs, toads running around. There's like a frog versus toad conflict, and then that is prophesized that three people that are holding the Calamity Gems will come down and then be able to help the Amphibia world from itself. So basically, Anne and her two friends who also get isekai with her are essentially the main protagonists. So we follow Anne through her journey, but there's two other people, Marcy and Sasha, who also get teleported into different facets of the Amphibia universe, trying to learn their magic. Magic is sort of a deal that only King Aldreus, like the king of all the frogs, that has access to, and through that they end up being able to confront this sort of magic with like their own pedestrian tools and then be able to win the day. So that's kind of like where the frogs are sitting at. We'll get into like feats with the specific frogs on specifically Sprig and Polly when we get into speed arguments, but that's about the general through line of like these frogs in this universe.
This is one of the reasons
Okay.
I love Death Battle. Just so
Yeah.
seriously being like, we're gonna get into these frogs and like this speed feat for this frog. Like it's just
Yeah.
so seriously.
Lightning speed frog.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for Owl House later, we'll be getting into the absolutely insane moon feat that a space child does. So we'll
Why
get
talk
there.
about it later? Let's talk about
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about it now.
All right.
What's going on with the moon? Well,
Yes.
okay.
Oh, the moon and
I
Week
mean,
show.
We can kind
The
of lead
moon-
into it
The
because
moon, it's going to be like a take shots whenever we talk about the moon, I think, for this matchup.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Hold on.
So DJ
No,
just kind of talked a little bit about how the powers of the frogs and stuff lead into what we're going to talk about. Is there anything more about the world of Owl House that you want to establish about Luz before getting into blowing up the moon or whatever's about to happen?
Well, before we say that, we just gotta shout out Shermanator Analysis gifted 20
Ooh,
championships. So
you got money.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Right, that's
thank you,
true.
Shermanator.
A few weeks ago, the gifting the memberships ended up randomly giving a membership to my fiance. So
Yeah, are they here?
we may end up
Right.
seeing them in chat later. I don't know. They did take their lunch break so they could watch this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I just.
Hi, Aaron's
but yeah.
fiance.
But
Yeah, no, thank you so much for gifting out those memberships. It's really awesome.
fiance
uh,
Schmonce, what is Luz gonna do?
Anyway, on to more important things. All right.
Yeah, far more important.
No, so you were saying you wanted a bit more context on the Owl House world and how Luz fits into it. Is that your question? I got so distracted by
Well,
all the
just if
gifted
there's
memberships.
anything more that you want to talk about in relation to Luz herself.
Yeah, so it is, kind of established, and it's the big tension of the series of how Luz is a human. She's not from the demon realm. She's not from the land itself is called the Boiling Isles, and all the people that are from the Boiling Isles have something where they can innately do magic, and Luz can't. She has to do her magic through external means through using glyphs. We end up finding out in the finale episode that where she gets those glyphs from are essentially gifts that she's been subconsciously given by the Titan, which actually is dead, but his soul's not all the way gone. He's hanging around in the in between.
Yeah, one of those gods been killed but not really killed because it's
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. And yeah, his body is actually what makes up the land that they live on, which is a pretty neat narrative element. I think Mike, I think I sent you a picture. Yeah. Can you pull up Lose 5?
So thank you, Kage, for the 10 memberships.
Thank you, Kage.
Kage's always on point. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I was expecting it to be more wholesome and grass and green and
No.
I was
No,
not
no,
expecting
no.
the open-chested rotting corpse with some
Yeah,
blood
so-
still on the
so-
claws.
It is that the land that they live on in the demon realm is quite literally the body of the Titan. And he is the one that gives Luz her magic through using the glyphs. And kind of the main thing that we get into when we talk about Luz and what she got in the finale is that she ends up sacrificing her own life to save someone else, and meets the god Titan, who restores her back to life and also gives her all of his remaining Titan magic. So gives her all of this magic of what is essentially the equivalent of a god for the demon realm. And
Okay.
what is the entire island that they live on, essentially. She gets all of that remaining power.
Wow.
Okay, that's a lot.
All right, let's talk about Frog Girl.
Does Frog
Okay.
Girl get magic from a frog
Oh.
titan?
No, not from a frog titan, but from the Calamity Gem. So the Calamity Gem are these ancient stones that are imbued with all this magic. And like I said before, the prophecy stated that the three main characters are essentially going to come into Amphibia and save it from itself. So essentially, once Anne goes into the Amphibia world, she essentially begins to tap into this power, at least subsequently, because she has like the Calamity Gem on hand, and that gives her like a basically Super Saiyan blue hair and like just like a ton of Dragon Ball Z S powers. Mike, if
Oh, you
could
weren't
bring
kidding
up-
when you said she had a Super Saiyan form as
No,
well.
she
Okay.
literally has a Super Saiyan form. So, Mike, can you bring up image 1?
We got a
So
bunch of
image
images
1.
and stuff.
So
Cool.
essentially, like this is during the finale where True Colors, where she's essentially fighting in space with Sasha and Marcy, and they are essentially like buffed with this superpower. And she essentially has like Green Lantern-esque constructs where she can create anything she wants. Now, mind you, there is like this statement between Sasha and Marcy where it says like we're buffed because like all the three Calamity Gems, there's like a blue one, a green one, and I believe a pink one, and like it's buffed when we're all together. But Anne always had at least like one of these stones, and with one of them stones, she's able to like destroy mechs when like they decide to invade Earth, and she could dodge missiles and lasers and fly around, all that type of shit.
Question about her constructs. Are we like simple like constructs, or like can she do complex constructs like moving parts?
She could do moving parts. So she struck these lasers that turned into cats, and those destroyed like a billion fucking spaceships.
Hell yeah, love that
Okay.
sentence. She shot these lasers that turned into cats and they destroyed a billion fucking spaceships. Okay. Cat
So is there
lasers
an
confirmed.
example of her taking on this form when she's alone?
Yeah, she mostly takes on this form alone throughout most of the entire series. There is like a more buffed version, quote unquote, during the finale where all three of them are together and combined, sort of like
Gotcha.
magical girl-esque. But like throughout the series, like when it's like her like superpowered evil side, quote unquote, where like she'll get mad, one of her friends gets her, and then she like turns blue hair and like goes fucking Super Saiyan on them.
Okay. Okay.
Cubert Thave says she kicked a bot into orbit.
Yeah.
So-
I don't have an image
Okay.
of that, but I do know what you're talking about.
Okay. So all right. So we've got a lot of very ridiculous power sets. Though Luz does seem a little bit more esoteric than
Mhm.
Anne at the moment.
Mm.
So if Anne is an like a Super Saiyan equivalent,
Yeah.
what is Luz doing with her Titan magic?
Yeah, she ends up taking on a form of Titan herself. Mike, if you could pull up, I think it's Luz one.
They
Does she
came
get like
prepared.
huge? Yeah.
She doesn't get huge, but she does basically take on the physical characteristics of
Whoa.
a Titan.
Yeah.
They
And so-
they play into this fun. She looks like a dark evil witch, but she's actually the protagonist. You know,
Man,
of the
people are gonna
story.
cosplay the hell out of this.
I know, it's pretty. So yeah, she stays her human size, but she is fully working with the magic of the Titan, is essentially being a mini god herself during the time that she has the Titan magic ability.
So like what kind of
Um,
stuff does she do with her magic, or like with the Titan powers? Because like I'm getting the sense of like Dragon Ball level flying around shooting
Yeah.
lasers that turn into
Yeah,
cats,
I-
blowing up shit. But like
Well, I'm seeing a few people in the chat compare this to Goku versus Sailor Moon. Is that accurate?
Kind of. I get the comparison. It's just kind of weird because
Yeah.
like Anne still has like a sword and stuff that she uses. So it's a bit
Mhm.
weird to like compare it to Goku in that sort of sense, but I get it that
Well, Goku with a sword versus Sailor
yeah.
Moon with a staff.
yeah, basically.
That's accurate. Yeah, this one is a little bit of a like warrior versus sorcerer
Mhm.
type matchup.
Interesting. Okay.
it is Luz coming at it from a purely magical standpoint. But yeah, her Titan form allows her to cast any of her glyphs at will instead of having to, before she was limited to having to have the glyph written on something and activate it.
Mm.
But with this, she's able to do any of her magic at will. So, fire, ice. One of the things that she ends up doing in the finale, one of her glyphs that she has is to create plant growth. And like throughout the series, she uses it to like, make big vines that can grasp and crush things. What she uses it for in the finale is to wipe out this entire like contagious mold that's put on the entire island by the big bad Bellos, and cover it with her own red plant material for that entire island that is the body of the big titan. So it takes magic
anti-mold
that
powers.
She can fight mold.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
She shoots.
I know
bleach.
it's more impressive than we're making it sound. I'm just like,
She's
but yeah.
Kaboom personified.
Yeah, the big thing with her titan form is more so what it does for her scaling, right? Because she is using all of the titan's magic, and the real thing too is that it is the magic of a titan who is dying. It is the remnant of what is left of his power. So it's not even, we're looking at a Luz that's being super powered with what is not the full amount of magic that a titan is even capable of, and yet is still very powerful. But yeah, the way that scaling ends up working is, she has the magic of the titan, which brings her onto the level of being equal with titan magic while she's in this form, and that makes her more powerful to be able to destroy Bellos, who's the primary antagonist. Yeah, this is a good point to get into a character called the Collector,
Okay.
who is the like paragonist. Like he's initially antagonistic, but ends up kind of coming around to the hero side.
They're Vegeta if we're continuing the
There you
Dragon
go.
Ball.
Yeah, if we
comparisons.
continue the metaphor, but also if Vegeta was like the equivalent of a 7-year-old child who just wants
Vegeta.
to
sometimes
play,
he is. Yeah.
but has like primordial, eldritch, crazy space god level of power.
Oh.
So
And
kind of
just
Vegeta.
doesn't even fully know how to use it. Yeah, like as I'm saying, I'm like, oh well, actually, that is kind of Vegeta, isn't it? Yeah, so it is an area where it gets really interesting in the Owl House of introducing the Collector, this god from space, who is also still a child and therefore, kind of doesn't know when what he's doing is necessarily wrong. But the way that the story kind of goes is that when the Collector arrives in the demon realm, arrives in the boiling isles, starts causing trouble because he doesn't know any better because he's a kid, the titan ends up trapping him for like 400 years. The Collector is very powerful, moves the moon in the sky just by doing this with his finger and goes and then he just moves the moon, and it's extremely casual,
Like
and,
touching a touch screen, like sliding something
Yeah,
on a
Yeah,
screen.
he
exactly.
literally
but he's not even
reaches out
touching
with
it.
his
He's literally
fingertip,
just.
However,
Yeah.
I have words for that.
moves
So
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I have words. So now I'm about to
Get
cause
into
problems.
your words,
so
then.
so now
Go
now that
for
we've
it.
actually covered the actual characters and what they're doing, now I'm about to
Uh-huh.
cause problems. So the thing about Luz's form, thing about Luz's form is that it only lasts like 10 minutes. And I know you're
Mhm.
saying that like we could probably scale Luz to the Collector, but the only reason why Luz is able to hold out that long against like the Collector or even Bellows like with her Titan form is because that her magic in that form cancels it out like kryptonite. So
Yes.
it's not like directly clashing with it, like sort of like two beam struggles and like which one's stronger. It's just that one's kryptonite and the other is Superman. That's why it's able to
Right.
like do
Wait,
well against the Collector.
but this isn't against the Collector. This is against the main villain.
Yeah, it's against Bellows, but the only thing that's scaling Bellows above the Collector is like a one-off statement that says like, "Oh, my Titan magic is even stronger than the Collector." But like in
Well,
practice,
the Titan
only
magic trapped the Collector for 400 years, right?
Mhm.
yes, but only
So
because
that establishes that it's more powerful.
That's because the collector is weak to Titan magic, not because it's stronger.
So both villains are weak to Titan magic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like anti-magic magic.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Mhm.
Which makes scaling weird.
Yeah, it
So-
makes the scaling
wait.
really weird.
If Titan is it that Titan magic is explicitly anti-magic? Is this an Asta thing going on here, or is it
It's not.
just like
It's not
some
magic.
It's
It's
not
just that there's
explicitly
it's two different types of
anti-magic, no.
magic, but the one that Anne uses
Light and dark
is strong.
kind of thing?
Yeah, sort of. If we want to use that comparison, like light and dark, that's not what it is, but one cancels out the other. It's not like overpowering. It's weak to
Okay.
it, kind of like a Pokemon type chart.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Man, how many other
there's the
references are we gonna bring
comparison.
in?
Yeah, because
Like-
it's like it's not, I think, accurate to say that like, oh, Titan magic just entirely nullifies
Mhm.
collector magic. They do talk about how, you know, it's not just that the Titan is more powerful by sheer force, but also does have type advantage essentially.
Mhm.
But you know, so it does make the scaling a little bit weird, but the scaling still is within there in some capacity. Because it's not like it's an entire kryptonite nullification.
Yeah,
But
so
there's
what have we-
also like a. Oh, go ahead.
So what have we seen Luz do? So like planet-wide plant growth, right?
Mhm.
That's pretty impressive. And like other than like
Mm.
fire and ice and stuff, like is there anything that can help like get an idea of how powerful Titan magic is specifically? Or like have we seen like
Mhm.
the Titan magic like move a planet or do something? You know what I mean? I'm trying to help
Mhm.
since it's like negating the other one and scaling gets weird. What have we seen the Titan magic specifically be able to do?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing for Titan magic would still be trapping the collector for 400 years.
Well, he's saying,
having
is there
to-
anything that
yeah.
we've seen Titan magic do that's really impressive that isn't related to I have a type advantage?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, more so as getting at is that it's so the Titan traps the collector falls into that trap, that's fine. But in order to undo that trap, in order to undo that sealing magic on the collector, takes Bellows siphoning all of like the magical energy of a majority of the population under like a solar eclipse Titan Nexus event. So
Okay.
in order to undo that Titan power, Bellows has to exude a really high level of power. So there is something to look at there of it takes that much energy to even break like magic that was left over from a Titan.
Is there any
Gotcha.
other example of Titan magic outside of just related to Bellis and the Collector?
It's primarily around Bellis and the Collector. Basically, all of the big Titans by the time the series starts are dead. The only Titan that's still alive is King, who is ends up basically being Luz's like adopted little brother, but he is the size of like a corgi. He's a little guy because he's just
Gotcha.
a baby. So there are things where we start to see that King starts to come into his own powers, but it's like years 1 through 20 is something that's going to live for thousands of years.
I've seen a couple of people have mentioned that the Collector also moves stars. Is that a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the collector moves the moon, the collector moves stars, like moves like pretty much the entire constellation system around in the sky. Basically redecorates the whole planet to fit in a little bit more with his aesthetic, just with like the snap of his fingers. Can create these little it's not confirmed, but basically implies that he can create just little extra dimensional spaces in which he plays games just for fun and can snap people in and out of them basically instantaneously. So
Okay. Well,
Right.
there's a lot
if,
going
if-
on there.
if the Titan magic has a type advantage against the Collector, but the Collector's power level is like moving celestial bodies around to the scope of
It's still pretty
stars.
strong.
Yeah,
right?
it's still
like,
strong.
Even if it's
Yeah.
like a
It's still strong.
50% advantage, it's still ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, also, Keybert in the chat said a drop of Titan blood is able to rip holes through dimensions. So pretty
Yes.
powerful.
Okay.
That's sort of like
Yeah,
a warping hack
that's-
thing. That's not like a direct
Yeah.
power thing. Like they can all.
Yeah, it's more of a hacks thing. But yeah, the portal that Luz uses to get from the human realm to the demon realm, and then later to get back to the human realm, requires Titan blood.
Gotcha.
That is the
Okay.
primary
Well,
component.
speaking of Titans, Jean
making
Arthur
that
just
bridge
dropped
between dimensions.
20 memberships. Thank you, Jean Arthur.
Yeah,
Good
thank
lord,
you.
y'all been going
Titanic.
crazy
Now,
lately.
now here's the thing. How do we want to treat about them dying? So Anne has like a really
Yes.
weird thing when it comes to her dying, and I don't think Luz has an actual counter for it.
Okay, what's
so-
that?
So
Let's get into it.
so Luz eventually meets like this character. This is the 3 gem guardian. She's essentially like the watches over the entire multiverse. And when Anne like uses all 3 of the gems to save the world and then she dies doing it, this 3 gem guardian says like, "Oh yeah, I can just bring you back like as a new copy into the world that you used to be in so that you can live a normal life." However,
Mhm.
she says that she can always tap into that power. Like the calamity gems can essentially like revive people just continuously because of this
And
3
she's
gem
using the
guardian.
power of 1 to reach that Super Saiyan form.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing with
Does
Luz
it-
is that when Luz in order to get to the Titan form, she has to die. She has to get killed. She has to go into the space between, and then she has to sink into the goop that nearly kills her. And then King
To the
Titan
goop.
has to pull her out and then give her the power for the Titan form. There's a lot of caveats for her getting the Titan
Well,
form.
that's how is this how she first attains it? Does she have to do it?
Well,
do this
apparently it
every
goes
time?
away.
No, yeah, it goes away because this is the last episode, so she doesn't have a chance to use it. She says that she could,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Well, the real thing is, yeah. So Luz dies, goes to the in between.
Just a reminder, everybody.
Yes.
We are
Massive spoilers
big
for Owl
House.
spoilers.
Yeah.
big
So-
spoilers.
Yeah, I'm bringing the lower third back up.
Hello. Yeah. So Luz dies, goes to the in between, and meets the Titan there. The in between is a space that she's accessed before when she's been alive.
Mhm.
She accesses it when
So why does she go there when she dies?
because it's the in between.
So-
It's
but
the in
she can
between of
access
This
being.
it
space, it's
regardless.
the space
Yeah.
between the
Life and
boiling
death.
It's
isles
limbo.
and it's limbo kind of. It's the space between the boiling isles, the demon realm, and like a ton of other like universes.
Dimensions.
Yeah, dimensions,
Yeah,
universes,
including the-
et cetera, et
the-
cetera.
the-
Remember
human
in
realm.
Harry Potter? No, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so she does go there when she dies because it's limbo. You know, it's established by King's dad, which is the Titan. It's established by the Titan that, you know, if she sinks into the goo, that is her kind of like fully dying. That is the equivalent of her accepting death
Yep.
and having her soul move on. But you know, it is a space that she has accessed before. She accesses it when trying to go through the portal to bring her back to the human world. She ends up very briefly being in that in between as a living person. So it isn't necessarily something that she would have to be dead to access because she can get to that space. It is true that she gets the power from basically what's left of the
Yeah.
Titan, right? From
Yeah,
his
she has
soul
to
or
she has to
spirit or his
actually meet
ghost or
him,
whatever you
and
want.
she has
call
to
it.
meet him, and then she has to convince him to give her that power. And we don't even know like how much of the Titan's power was left when he gave it to her. We said like
Yeah.
I remember you saying earlier like she gave him the full power, but that's not quite true. We don't know how much like power
Yeah.
that the King Titan gave.
What
Luz
what
when
he
she went into the Titan.
explicitly says is that he is going to give her all of his remaining power because he is
King's
being
dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
King's dad because
Yeah.
he is being basically finally perma killed by Bellos in the finale. So it is him giving Luz all of his remaining power.
Yeah.
So it
remaining
is all the
power.
power that he has at that point. It also it's not so much I dispute it being that she has to convince him to give her the power. He wants to give her the power.
Well, okay, let me
pretty much
rephrase.
just
He has
immediately
to
just like,
have to he has to have
"Hey."
a talk with her. They have to have a
Yeah.
conversation. Like
They
throughout
do
this
have
like
a
entire
conversation,
space
yes.
between worlds, when she dies, or if she has to go into the space between, she has to find him specifically, and then can not even convince, but they have, and then him give her
Okay,
the power.
so just to put a cap on this, because we're
Yeah.
talking about this like convoluted way of getting to a power level.
Mhm.
If we are, it sounds like both of these characters have an extreme form and then a non-extreme form. And if we're going to bring in the extreme form of the other, it would not really make sense to not bring in the extreme
Yeah,
form of
exactly.
the second. So I
Well,
say
remember this
it's
started
But
something
because
what
he was
I
bringing
wanted
up
to bring
about
up
death.
is that if we're allowing all of those caveats, then there's no reason why we shouldn't bring in full power Anne. The
And I think
white
that's fair.
Anne, or because I seen some people in
well,
chat.
one is
saying-
about how she got the power. The other one is about how the power works with others to increase its ability.
Oh, there's still more. So
Speaking
there's
of more
Capable
genre,
of
wait,
using
there's
those gems
more.
by
15
herself.
memberships.
Like there's 3
Yeah.
gems, right?
Yeah, there's 3 gems. So she ends up getting like a better blue calamity form because she has all 3, like the 3 main characters end up powering up together, which sort of buffs them all at once. However, if we're allowing like the extreme like circumstances that got Luz to Titan form, I see why we shouldn't be able to include this because all she really needs is to power up with the 3 gems. She literally did it in the finale. Granted,
Mm.
going
So
into
she
that
can use
white
the 3
Anne form-
gems by herself. It doesn't
Yes,
need to be.
however,
It isn't
it does
specifically
kill
a
her.
power of friendship.
Yeah. However, it like after she uses like the massive amount of power, it does kill her.
Yes.
Okay, so it would
Yeah.
be
Which is the main
a
thing
Mike
for
Guy
me, right?
situation. Go to
Yeah,
ninth
it'd be a Mike
gate,
Guy.
and then like win the
Yeah.
death battle and then die.
Yeah.
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 Got it. Okay. I mean that
'Cause,
technically
you know, I
counts.
think-
It technically works.
For sure, right? Because it is something of for Luz to get her Titan form, it does require that outside help, which normally would go against her death battle rules. But if we make it equal, of she can have her Titan form, Luz can have her fully powerful form. But when Anne gets out of her form, she dies. When Luz gets out of her form, she just goes back to
But
normal.
that's only white Anne. Blue calamity form, she doesn't die after it's done. So like
Yeah.
that souped up power with like the Green Lantern-esque constructs, that's blue calamity. That's not even white Anne.
Okay. I think we're gonna need to get into the specific like
Yeah.
speed and strength and whatnot of these
Yep.
2 forms. But before that,
Mhm.
I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, HelloFresh. HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime this spring by delivering pre-portioned ingredients and easy to prepare recipes right to your door. You can skip the checkout lines and get outside in the warmer weather because HelloFresh has dinner covered. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. The cost of groceries is going way up, and you know you're spending too much money on takeout. So HelloFresh is not only a potentially cheaper option, but also a healthier option. Also, HelloFresh is committed to a cleaner planet. On average, HelloFresh meals have a 31% lower carbon footprint than the same meals from supermarket ingredients, which is pretty cool. Plus, nearly all HelloFresh packaging materials are curbside recyclable in most areas of the US, which is also really cool. So go to HelloFresh.com/cast50 and use code cast50 for 50% off. Plus, your first box ships for free. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/cast50 and use the code cast50 to get 50% off and free shipping on your first box. Thanks again to HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
And longtime sponsor of us.
Yeah.
So thank you, HelloFresh.
Yeah.
They're great, super easy. Especially if it's a good way. If you're like not super into cooking, but like you kind of always wanted to be, it's a great intro. It's very easy to
Like
do. And then
me.
you get and then you get to keep the recipe cards and you get to make them over and over again. It's great.
Yeah, the ad reads don't really talk about them anymore, but all the recipes come with these ad cards that you can store pretty easily for later use. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
But
All right, back to death.
it's time to talk
Anyway.
about little wizards killing each other or whatever the heck this is.
Frog women and corpse
Frog
imbued
world
titan.
versus demon world
Corpse wizard versus frog
This is-
lady.
with
Yes.
space thrown in there.
So-
This is Frog
okay.
saying. There we go.
I also sort of want to think about there are 2 ways. It sounds like there are 2 ways we could go about this. There's these super forms, but we also haven't really talked about what they're capable of without the super forms. So if we were to remove the super forms, is this a completely different matchup?
Yeah, and just loses.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the real thing of we were talking about it before doing cast this week.
Yeah.
Of we decided, okay, Owl House finale that following Tuesday. Let's do Anne versus Luz. Let's finally do it. Okay, I'll argue for Luz because I'm really
Yeah.
into the Owl House, and then I spend the whole weekend just like, please let her do something cool in the
Yeah.
finale in order
Yes, he
to
does.
beat Anne's calamity form. But when you look at it as just if we ignore Anne's super form, if we ignore Luz's super form, it's just the 2 of them without their like souped up versions of themselves fighting. It is Luz that wins pretty handily. She just has much more versatility. She has a wider arsenal at her disposal.
Yeah, and then the
You know,
glyphs
she-
are like
Yeah.
some of her glyphs, like the ice glyphs, like calcing those
Mhm.
like specific glyphs that she does. Even the vine glyphs, they're just like the numbers are just way above anything base form Anne can do, like no super forms or anything.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I see a lot of
Good
people
enough.
bringing up Ida or Edda.
Ida.
Yeah.
Ida, yeah, scaling. There's lots of people wanting to hear about Luz
Now-
scaling to Ida.
We can get into like speed, because speed is like a big point for both of these characters. I think where I'm going to sit is that even though Anne, like Blue Calamity or otherwise, isn't as versatile as Luz, she's way, way, way faster than her. And no matter what Luz does to her, she's always going to be able to dodge it, or it's not even going to affect her. It's going to be like effectively moving in slow motion from her perspective. She could just blow
Interesting.
her away. So
Okay.
So
and
how
what's-
fast?
What's
She's like,
yeah, what's
what,
the
faster
evidence of
than light?
this?
So Mike, can you bring up? Let's
There we go.
see, 4. Let's bring up 4 just as a like a primer, because there's two things here. So this is Polly. She's a baby. I'm not. Oh yeah, I'm just my head's in the way.
She's a polka
on
dot.
this mix. Yeah, she's
She's a polywag.
Or a
Yeah,
tadpole.
yeah, a little
okay.
tadpole.
Polywag.
And her brother Sprig, which is like her not make believe family, but like her adopted like frog family. They're
Chosen
able
family.
to chosen family. They're able to dodge lasers just completely casually. King Andreas has like these mechs that shoot lasers, pew pew pew, and they're able to dodge it just fine. There's a bunch of other tech within the Amphibia universe from like the ancient technologies that Amphibia once had that Andreas sort of circumvented, and those also fire lasers, and Anne and everyone's able to dodge them. Anne
Okay.
is clearly faster than this baby. If you're telling me that she's not faster than this child,
Like, is
What
that-
scale and to a child?
that's base form. That's base form, Anne.
But sorry, just I
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify: is that like reactionary laser dodging, or are they like?
No, she's running and like the lasers and she's dodging them. Easy.
okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
I can't obviously I can't give
Is
you
there
those clips.
any evidence to suggest that the lasers are light speed or
Oh yeah,
in
the
general,
laser.
and you have-
Yeah, the lasers just move in straight lines. They refract off of mirrors. They're lasers.
okay?
Like at least light speed.
So somebody in the chat mentioned you can't dodge what you can't see. Does Luz have abilities that like would just annihilate Anne without any sort of visible attack?
Luz has the ability to be invisible in anything that she is making contact with, to be invisible. However, it only lasts so long as she can hold her breath.
Oh, that's fun.
So
I like that.
that is an ability she has. I do agree that Anne is faster than Luz. I'm seeing people say that Luz can scale to Ida. I don't know that that's true.
I
don't know that I see
apparently,
that.
Apparently, Luz beat some warlock or something. I saw a comment about that, and then that
That
warlock
had
had
defeated
Yeah,
Ida.
you
it defeated
can.
Ida.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. We can say it. It's that kind of, hop, skip scaling, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, this person is da, 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 da. But yeah, because I mean, Luz has dodged lightning, and you can scale her to Amity and to Hunter, who have dodged lasers before. But Anne, I do think I agree that Anne is a bit faster, just with other things that she's done.
I don't think she's a bit faster. I think she's way faster. That was just Polly. So
a bit faster.
So
Yeah,
Mike, you bring
get
up,
into your next thing.
You bring up image 3 with the laser. So I can't get the clip. I'm not even sure if this is like the specific clip that I was looking for, but this is just like a backing for my talking point. So when Anne is in her calamity form, lasers literally move in slow motion to nearly a complete stop. And it's not like that she has like these time slow abilities. She has no like time abilities of like any kind. She's just moving so fast that these lasers, which you've established as light speed, are moving ridiculously fast. Like they're nothing compared to Anne. And if we're saying that Luz is arguably like lightning's like what, like 20,000 times slower than light. If we're saying that like a baby can just like completely like dip and dodge, lose all day, then calamity form and doing that all day, not even a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about what it does, like math wise, for her speed, but in the finale, Luz does do her little teleportations in her new like protective orb ability. She almost instantaneously teleports from one location to another within the island, and she also, in the span of somewhere between 5 to 10 seconds, goes from being on the island to being up in that space shot that I showed earlier,
Right.
of them all
Above
looking
orbit.
down at
Somebody
the
else
island.
mentioned that Luz could fly into space in about 10 seconds. So That's
And
ridiculous.
also
if
they
that's
do
also
hang out in
teleport?
space, so there is that.
But like going into space in 10 seconds, that's like if I like just like off the top of my head, like Heihachi versus Geese, that's like Mach, like what, like triple digit Mach? That's nothing compared to light speed. Nothing.
Sure, but Aaron did mention teleportation, which is instantaneous.
Instant transmission.
So
But you need to like react. Like, does Luz need to react to something? Like, does she need to like mentally do something in order to teleport? Does she need to draw a
Within her
glyph?
Titan form, she just does it.
She does it?
She just does it.
Yeah, she has access to all of her spells instantly,
She
right?
manifests a big golden orb around her, which protects her protects her and her allies from being crushed by
Yes.
Bellis's magic and everything. And when she is within that orb, the orb just goes from
I
one
think that's like
location
more
to
of an
the next.
ability
They don't
because
touch on it at all, but
I think
it does
I think
happen.
the thing is that she needs to still think and like she needs to like consciously think of the action of like teleporting. Like it's not gonna
Mm.
like automatically protect her. So like she could, even though teleportation is insane, it'll get her out of that situation. If she's not even fast enough to even think to teleport, then she's just roadkill.
I see.
okay. Is teleporting like a normal ability that she has access to, or is this just Titan form?
It's specifically in her Titan form.
Okay.
Okay. And I saw other people work a spell of like petrification. So is that something she could just do
Yeah.
instantly? So she could just like freeze.
Yeah,
And
she does have the ability to petrify using a combination of glyphs, which in her Titan form she doesn't have to cast any of those glyphs the way that she used to with having to write it down. So those do basically just happen as soon
Yeah.
as she wills it.
Yeah,
So
as soon
within
as she wills
DJ's
it.
argument
Yeah.
of she has to think to do
she
it,
has to think
Yeah.
to do it.
that still falls within that,
Yeah.
but she is able to do it. You know,
Sure.
the moment she decides.
so
to.
what's
Okay,
faster,
so-
light or thought? Sorry.
Well, I
So-
can tell you, I know the answer.
DJ's arguing that Anne is faster than both.
Yeah.
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 So, all right, Luz has a bunch of spells, obviously, but at the end of the day, Anne is Anne casting spells, or is it just shooting lasers and swinging a sword?
Swinging a sword, shooting lasers, and
On the
and then
construct thing.
Yeah, and the constructs. That's
And
about it.
The most
And then she can like make like shockwaves. Like she can stomp like her foot in, like create like these giant shockwaves. So that's
Hulk
about
smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lewis can do that too just by screaming.
it.
But
That's great.
Like I'll give you like the versatility thing, but like speed and strength, like no. I think that
Yeah.
she's strong enough and fast enough that even if Luz like has all these different spells, then like it's not gonna affect her.
what
She
about like
can, like, be, like-
durability?
Durability. You typically like I guess within Death Ball rules, we typically like were to equalize like attack potency and durability if there's like no greater argument to suggest why they would be weaker than like their highest forms.
Mm.
But I guess with the durability, let me look at it.
Because I would just assume that like Luz has like a magic shield around her or can put up one, right? Like
Yeah, she has this big orb that she gets in her Titan form that protects
Yeah,
her from all
and-
incoming
and-
attacks. And even in her base form, back before she is in a Titan form, she takes like explosions and fiery blasts and getting flung across big distances and being on her like her staff and doing like a over 180-degree turn by holding onto something which normally would pop out your arm.
Real quick, a couple people in the chat have mentioned healing magic. Loses healing magic, can heal herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And Anne does not.
And does not. The only thing
Okay.
she has would
does
be
the stones
Guardian.
like regenerate?
Yeah. The only thing that she would realistically have, they don't really regenerate her body like that. Like it's sort of like a Sailor Moon thing, like when you transform, like you're good as new. But
That's
during
what
the
I was
fight-
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
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 But as far as like healing magic, no. The only thing that she would have that's like healing per se would be like the 3 gem guardian reviving her. But that also
That's-
has like
That's
Yeah.
being revived.
Yeah,
The Titan
that's getting
magic, so
revived.
grinning choppy. The Titan magic's the Titan's magic could bring Luz back to life when the collector couldn't. So going back to
Yeah.
this collector scaling thing, I
Mhm.
know it's a little
Mhm.
shaky scaling, but there's still a vague scaling element you can do with it, even with the Pokemon weakness or whatever. We talked about how the collector can move stars. That is an enormous level of power that
Mhm.
can, in some way, be brought to the Titan's level of power. Even if Luz only has a fraction of the Titan's level of power, that is still beyond anything that I think we've talked about with Anne,
Yeah,
has
and
Anne reached
Anne is
any
like
sort of level of power that is celestial in nature?
the only thing that the closest thing we get to celestial is like White Anne being able to like hold all three gems, being able to completely destroy the moon. At least destroy the moon
Okay.
that
Yeah.
the core is controlling, and but obviously that kills her. But I wouldn't
Yes.
say that's like on a level of like those celestial bodies.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. So Anne may be much faster, but it appears to me at least that Luz is going to be a lot stronger.
However, Luz's form is only 10 minutes, and if she's faster than that, she's not touching her. And as she goes through her time limit, she gets weaker and weaker. So she'd
Does
only
Luz
be
have
at
any
like
spells that slow down time? Or slow down people?
Well, there was the
slow down
petrification, but also
spells.
people said that was really slow. Also,
Petrification, ice, anything that would like be able to temporarily hold back a person
The-
with vines. Although I think Anne's busting
Lu-
straight through this.
Luz would,
I think my real question. So
go
yeah,
ahead.
it's established that in the finale episode, the amount of airtime in which she has this ability is about 10 minutes. With some of the cuts that they make, we could argue for more or less time that
Mhm.
she's able to be in this form. She only gets mildly weaker throughout. It's more so that she's noticing that, like, okay, my time with this power,
Yeah.
we're getting to
but
the end
yeah,
of
but
it.
she's still getting weaker. We don't know by what degree, but she is still getting weaker. So she'd only be at like
Yeah.
that celestial power, like right off the bat when she gets the
Right,
form.
yeah.
And remember, she has
It's-
to go into the worlds between to use in the first place. So it's stopping
Mhm.
Anne from because she could just type into the blue power like if she has the gem. She could just go, it's power up and then
How
just
is there a
Yeah.
time limit on
block her
that?
in the.
yeah, how
Is
long
there a
there
can
is
time
she
a-
be
limit
in
on
that?
the blue?
I don't. There is a time limit. I believe it's slightly longer than Luz's, but I can't.
Mm.
I don't have like an exact metric. I think chat knows.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 to 7
Okay.
max. That's what they're saying, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay.
I'm not. I
I'm
have to
seeing
look
4
into
to
that again.
7.
Now, obviously, this is a matchup that is way more complicated than we could cover in just a single death metal cast.
Yeah, this is wow. This is
Yeah.
cool.
This
we
is
should do
pretty
this
cool.
episode.
I think this would be
We
a pretty
should do
good
this.
episode.
I would love to do this.
And this is like
Yeah.
hot off the press because the
Yeah.
finale aired 3 days ago.
Yeah, and I'm
for the
sure there's some
Owl
elements to the finale of Owl House that like we're just missing or not aware of. That could throw a new wrench into either argument. Okay, so let's get to the vote then. Let's start talking about who's actually going to win this thing. Starting with the answers that you guys gave to us before the show started. Let's go ahead and bring up the community page answers.
This comes from Horrible Drawer. Oh no, don't be so down on yourself. You're wonderful. Though Luz could probably scale to Hunter and Amity's speed, Hunter dodging point blank lasers and Amity keeping up with Hunter's speed dashes. Anne was fast enough to perceive lasers in slow motion and kick a robot into near space with little experience. She even shook off a hit that slammed her so hard she moved a building. Okay. Not counting her power up she gets when Sash and Marcy. Anne is still too much for Luz, but let's see if the finale changes anything.
Yeah.
As this
It
is written
did.
before the finale. Well,
Yeah,
it
this
clearly
was
did.
finale. Yeah, it changed.
So maybe slightly outdated argument.
Mhm.
That's all right. We got one more from you guys. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
All right, from Ethan says, unless Luz gets a major bump in the house finale, I can't even see her beating Anne.
Why didn't we get answers from before the finale?
I mean,
all right,
gotta pull
whatever.
them when we can. That's so funny.
Yeah, we did
Yep.
have the announcement and the poll go up on Friday. So
Yep. And then everything
okay.
changed. the
I'm
next
sure
minute,
this
yeah.
also means that our
Hmm.
YouTube poll that we're about to get into.
Okay, so this poll
It's
might
also
be a little
probably-
skewed.
Thank you,
Interesting.
John Arthur, for another 5 memberships. Dude, you've been going
Well, I
crazy.
still win.
Well, I
Well,
win.
get
Let's
my
see.
W.
I almost wonder. Okay, yeah. Okay, here's the
Yep.
poll from the community page. Anne
Wow.
wins 75% of the vote. Now, because this was before the finale, if the chat poll is different, I almost want to give them a weighted
Give them a weighted thing.
vote.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'm down for
Because
it, but chat,
it's
just
with new
know who's
information.
the moderator in the Discord. You can get your out there at any time.
All right, if the
Yeah,
if the-
also the I
He's
still win
using
was a
his
real
power for
Liam
evil.
moment. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the first vote is for Anne. However, if your guys' vote in the poll in the chat poll is different, it will supersede it. depending on how Chad and I vote, of course. So the poll is live. Should be live. There we go.
Okay.
So go ahead and get your votes in as Chad and I figure out our votes. Chad, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. This is wild. God power versus Super Saiyan power, but she's way faster. But so we're definitely allowing the Titan power, right?
I think it makes sense. I think it would be
I think
skewed
it's what
either
makes
way.
the matchup interesting.
Yeah, in that case, like with her ability to like, she's got like a force field bubble around her. God powers can turn invisible by holding her breath. I think,
Including it is sort of the same reason why we did Xeno Trunks versus Archie Silver. It was just a much more interesting matchup. There was a lot more questions to it and a lot more interesting interactions. So if we're just doing, if we're removing one of these great powers, then I don't think the matchup is nearly as interesting. We like interesting matchups.
Yeah.
With
if we
God
don't,
form,
God form, we need it. We need it.
I wish we had more. I wish they had not been so rushed into doing this, or there'd be hey, maybe it's popular enough they'll do another one. But I'm gonna go with lose, I think, just because like the invisibility, defensive, and all the magic and the versatility and the instant casts. But I do think that Anne is physically stronger, so yeah, I'm gonna go with lose for this. This is hard.
One vote.
Also,
for
there is so much more to these series. Like both, like my
clearly.
daughter watched both of these like intermittently. She never got like super hooked on either one, and I always thought it was like, you know, like Witch Girl magical show, and then I thought it was like, oh, fun miscellaneous adventures in a frog world, and I did not expect like to go.
They both get
way.
dark as shit.
Yeah, they're both really good series. I highly recommend them both.
I've seen this matchup request kind of referred to as a like the next kind of Steven versus Star.
I think
generally.
I think with Steven versus Star, we were like, I think we did like 2 years after Steven Universe had officially ended, or like a little over a year.
A little bit after,
Yeah, this is hot off the presses, so everyone's talking about it.
Yeah. I love this. I think this is a really interesting matchup and clearly has a lot more to dive into. I do think just looking at the basic presentations at the moment, I think I'm going to give it to Anne just because of the speed difference here. But it's really close for me because the power difference and the versatility of the spells, like Chad was talking about, does make it seem to me like it's really close. I feel like I could go either way, actually.
I can too. Despite like me arguing for Anne, I do think this is like super close.
Yeah, ultimately for me, I'm just happy because on Friday it went from horrible stomp for lose versus
we had a whole plan. It's like, well, if we can't
now.
argue for Anne, we'll have a backup.
DJ and I made a backup plan. We were like, okay, if she doesn't get anything cool in the finale, we're just going to shift to Father versus Bellows, which I think we can talk about in Champion Cast.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah, there's our Champion Scout.
Okay, man, I'm torn because well, as I was saying that, I was like, actually, you know what? I think we're gonna vote for lose, but okay. I'm going to say I'm going to vote for lose. But
okay.
Because the chat's vote is weighted, if they vote for Anne, it's not a tie, then Anne would win. Okay.
I think it's fair.
Yeah. That's fine. This is very difficult. I'm having a hard time. But I'm basically going to hand this over to you guys, chat, to decide this once and for all. But I'm voting for lose. All right. Oh my gosh. So let's go ahead and get the last couple votes in as we wrap this up. I thank you, Aaron and DJ, for coming on to debate this, especially right after the finale of one of these shows happened.
It's always great when both people arguing know both series. That's super fun. So y'all did great. I learned a lot.
I've seen this requested several times, but I've never seen the series, and I've only recently really seen anything about Owl House, which it's kind of a shame that it's ending right as I'm like starting to see more of it.
Well, I think what helped, and it's very brief, I think what helped is that these final specials for season 3, they aired on YouTube and Disney Plus, so it actually was able to be seen by more people.
Okay.
So
wait, where was it? It was normally just on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
It would air on Disney, and then eventually would be put on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I think
Yeah.
it helped that just season 3 was a lot more accessible.
So they didn't put it on Disney Plus as it was airing.
No.
Interesting.
That's so weird. Okay, yeah, no wonder they were using like traditional network television metrics to see if this was successful.
Oh, they
Interesting.
completely hoed the Owl House. I'll never forget.
They kneecapped her so hard. 'Cause it's got gay people in it.
Oh no.
I said it.
Come on.
I'm blowing up all my Owl House DVDs along with Bud Light. Sorry.
Well, all right. Well, it sounds like if you're watching through this and you don't care about spoilers, it sounds like Owl House is worth checking out. I'm definitely gonna check it out after this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it. Your vote decides the winner here. Like, it really all comes down to the chat's vote. And let's go ahead and end the poll now. The
poll has
final
been
result is
So close.
52% of the
that wasn't
vote.
bad. That wasn't bad.
52% of the vote goes to
Okay.
lose.
Yeah. Look at you. Look at you. Look at that W. You see, ungracious in defeat.
Unlike a certain other
Yeah, unlike a certain other researcher.
writer and researcher we have on staff.
Yeah. Kage says lose winning by the smallest margin, how she tends to win most of the time.
I mean, that's true.
I mean,
We all
hey,
gotta take
that's,
L's
that's
sometimes.
heroic.
She's the real
Oh man, I
underdog
can't say
protagonist.
lose anymore. I can't say lose. That was like my
What do you know?
that was in my head.
Lose
Yeah.
one.
Well, it was very close, very close. In an actual death battle, I think it still could go either way, at least at the moment. So let us know what you think. Do you think we should do this episode? How do you think? Not just do you think should we do this episode? How do you think we should address this episode? Because clearly there's a lot of complicated factors here.
I saw
Not
so
just-
many opinions in the chat.
Yeah,
as this was
not
going
just in
down.
terms of like scaling and whatnot, because scaling clearly, like with the Titans and different gems and things like that, can get really complicated. But also in terms of the different powers and the spells and base forms and things of that nature. Like, there's clearly a lot to wrap our heads around here. So let us know. Leave a comment. Tell us in the chat, and maybe we should do this death battle pretty soon. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It's certainly on my short list of ones I would love to see
Yeah.
happen.
Love it. Love it.
Same.
All right. Well, again,
All right.
thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for
Thank you,
watching
guys.
this live.
Yeah. Thanks for all the
and
gifted memberships too. And if you
Yeah.
guys got
We're
a
a ton.
membership, go check out the membership tab on the YouTube. on
Join the
on main
Discord
channel.
and all that jazz.
Yeah.
We can
Yes,
go
Check
to
out
also-
all this stuff.
We do have a community fireside chat coming up, like
All
tomorrow.
right.
Tomorrow.
I think.
Come on.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I got an invite on my
Tomorrow,
calendar today.
5 p.m. Central, we are doing our next fireside chat. I know it's been a little while. We've been super busy.
Yes.
We're getting back into it.
What is it all
So-
featuring?
You, for one.
I know. I asked, but me, I'll be back.
Yeah. DJ, Ben, Chad. I think Liam's also going to be there. Might also have Josh on. We'll see. But yeah.
Cool. My tomorrow
Yes.
is insane. All right.
Yeah, we might be able to talk a little bit about what's coming up in the next season, but we obviously don't want to spoil anything.
Ooh, I have
but
to
we
get back
got-
to
we-
work.
Yeah, I'm excited about what we. If you didn't see, I think it was last episode of Cast, we announced our first episode of the season. A certain shrinking battle that has been long requested. So look forward to that coming in May. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.